Hello, good morning, one and all, and have a nice day to everyone. In the previous session, as a series of providing video sessions on Python server-side scripting language, in my previous session, I have discussed the directories, methods, and modules, and different types of methods on them. So, in this class, I am going to discuss about the topic is the exception handling. So what is meant by exception means the exception is an error which is used to cause something interruption to the program. So these are raised when you going to subscribe the program for the first time. So exceptions, how to handle exception, these are the drawbacks of a program. So how to handle these exceptions is the today's class. So we have different types of exceptions are there. First one is the we can debug them. That means we have to debug the program in order to get the output for the debugging. We get the two different types of exception handling, and second one is the assertion. So debugging in two ways: exception handling and assertions. And next one is the we have to get the different types of exceptions. So and this following table shows the different types of exceptions are there, and along with their description. First exception is the exception. So this means the we see the base class for all the exception. So if you don't know the name of the exception, so we use exception as default for all the exceptions. Next one is the stop iteration exception. This method specifies this exception raised when the next method, that means next method of iterator, doesn't point to any object. Next one is the system exit exception raised by the system dot exit function. So this system exit exception raised by the system dot exit method. Next one is standard error. So standard input output error. So a standard error means the base class for all inbuilt exceptions except stop iteration and system exit. So this is the base exception for all the standard errors. So next one is the arithmetic exception. That means any arithmetic errors are there in the program, so this exception going to rise. This is the base class for all the exceptions that occur for numeric calculation. So any numerical incorrection will be made while doing anything, so this exception is going to arise in program. Next one is the overflow exception. So this rises when a calculation exceeds the maximum limit for a numeric type. This is the overflow exception. Floating point means raised when a floating point calculation fails. Next one is the zero division error. That means raised when division or modulo by 0, that is modulus 0 when we perform the modulus 0 operation, then this 0 division error will rise. Next one is the assertion error raised in case of failure of the asset statement. Next one is the attribute error raised in case failure of attribute reference or assignment. And next one is the EOF, the end of file error. So when the file raised when there is no input from either the raw input or the input function. Next one is the import error raised when a import statement fails. Next one is the keyboard interrupt. That means when raised when the user interrupts the program execution, usually by pressing the control C. Next one is the lookup error. Base class for all the lookup errors. Index error. So raised when an index is not found in a sequence. Key error, that means raised when the specified key is not found in the dictionary. Next one is the name error raised when an identifier is not found in the local area. Next one is the unbound local error, means raised when trying to access a local variable in a function. Next one is the environment error, base class for all the exceptions that occur outside the Python environment. Next one is the input output error raised when input output operation fails. OS error, that means raised for the operating system related errors. System error raised when there is an error in the Python syntax. Indentation error, this means when raised when the indentation is not specified properly. System error means raised when the interpreter finds an internal problem. So system exit raised when the Python interpreter is quit by using system.exit function. And next one is the type error raised when an operation or function is attempted that is invalid for the specified data type. And next one is the value error, that means raised when the built-in function for a data type has the valid type of arguments or not. Next one, the runtime error. So raised when a generated error doesn't fall into any category. Next one is the not implemented error, raised when an abstract method that needs to be implemented in an inherited class is not actually implemented. So this is the errors and their descriptions, error name and along with their descriptions. Uh, take a look on them. And next concept in the exception handling is the assertion. So what is meant by assertion? Assertion is a sanity check. That means you can turn on or turn off when you are done with the done with your testing of the program. So as soon as you written the program and everything of the program completed, and you go, then you went for assertion. So the easiest way to think of an assertion is like it to raise if statement. That means an expression is tested, and if the result come up false, an exception is raised. So if the completed if statement is executed successfully, there is no exception. If else, then otherwise exception arises. Next one is assertions are carried out by the assertion statement. So the newest keyword to the Python introduced in the version 1.5. So next one, the assert, by using the assert keyword we can raise the exceptions, we can handle the exceptions. So this is the assert is a keyword and expression, and it has some arguments. When assertion phase, Python uses the argument expression as an argument for the assertion error. So here we have taken a small, it is the small example taken here. Definition of a Kelvin to Fahrenheit is the method, and it has some argument. And as far as the printing the asset value, even the temperature is greater than or equal to 0, then print this statement and then return some value, that is temperature is 273 multiplied 1.8 plus 32, and then printing the same method values and convert them. Those are in degrees, so convert them integer values to the output screen. So that is about the exception handling basics. And first two ways to handle exception in Python. First one is the exceptions handling. Next one is the assertion method. So in the next class we discuss about the what is the exception, how to handle exceptions, and different types of methodologies are there. So please try to subscribe my channel Jairab Infotech and like my videos. Thank you all. Have a nice day.